Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to give you a few minutes to gather yourselves, get your folks, get your tea, make sure you're sitting in a comfortable position, make sure you have the little box of tissues, um, hit your homegirls up and your friends and make sure that they got the live link and they have everything they need. And while you are getting situated, we're just gonna hold space for y'all for a minute. Make sure volume. Sure everybody. Make sure that's on mute. Ooh, that was definitely loud. Okay. All right. Let's give people one more minute. I see a bunch of people joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today, this Monday. Welcome to Homemade. What up, Booze? I see a bunch of people. Hey, everyone. We're really honored for all of you to join us. Please make sure if you need the vigil candles that you send a DM, we'll send them out to you. Thank you for everyone who posted up the candles today, the virtual candles. Shout out to Ben Connors, who is based in UK right now watching, probably with Nyla and Sarah. Thank you so much for making the art and all the visuals that you guys see. We want today to sort of represent and serve as an altar. And so we were able to make the flyer in that likeness. I'm going to give one more minute as I see people are still signing in. And then I will begin with the formal introduction. Lives are always strange. Talking to yourself. Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Let's begin. Um, so, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, and to those who are returning, who have been a part of this now a series twice a month, every 1st and 15th, thank you so much for participating and watching and attending. We have grown a lot from all the response and feedback that people have been giving. So let me begin by just saying thank you. My name is Asha Monet. I'm a poet originally born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My first full collection of poems was published on Haymarket Books and is called My Mother Was a Freedom Fighter. So shout out to Haymarket, who's helping us host this reading right now. Please feel free to go to Haymarket Books. They have an incredible list of books to help you during this time. So check out the website. I currently live in Little Haiti, Miami, where I'm the co-founder of a grassroots arts collective and studio space called Smoke Signals Studio, as well as facilitator and founder of Voices Poetry for the People in collaboration with Community Justice Project. We follow the revolutionary blueprint of June Jordan, and we create in the legacy of sovereign maroon communities across the state of Florida. Homemade Poetic Remedies for the Times is a virtual poetry reading and showcase that began in response to this COVID-19 reality where we are being told by the state to stay home and practice social distancing. And we wanted to offer people literal homemade remedies and pathways to healing, as well as medicinal poems that can serve as some sort of freedom dream, vision, or expand our imagination. Since we've organized this show today, We have lost already at least 4 more people. And this show specifically is dedicated to Ahmaud Arbury, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Tony McDade. And the list continues to grow, which is probably the most horrifying aspect of our current reality. That in the midst of mourning, we're continually having to grieve another name and another name, and those who go nameless. So, Raya Milton, we lift your name up. Dominique Remy Fells, we lift your name up. Rayshard Brooks and Toyin Salah, Robert Fuller, Malcolm Harsh, and the many, many, many unnamed. We cannot move if we are not moving together. And if we are in deep hurt, we become immovable, we become numb, and at times we feel powerless. And this is why there is a need for radical healing in our communities. That as much as we invest in liberation and political theology and theory, that we must invest in the interior world that we grapple with daily, that we struggle through daily. And this is the role of poets. This is the art of those who spend their deepest, darkest days and their brightest, joyous mornings writing through all the many feelings of what it is to be human and to experience this life here together. Today, we facilitate a poetic vigil defined as a period of keeping awake during the time usually spent asleep, especially to keep watch or pray. Tonight is a testament to our barefoot blooming in the thick of open palm hurt. We unburden beside one another and press our ears into each other's hearts, learning to listen for more than hurt. This is the political work of solidarity. In radical circles, we talk about the liberation from individualism, and primarily in the scope of our material conditions. We focus on socialism so long as it means our medical health care system, our schools, our jobs. But what about the spirit? What about the mind and the heart? How do we collectively grieve when our children have inherited a cemetery of hashtags? The miracle of our grief is that we love and we live loudly, still wailing the weight of our bodies, how the spirit jumps out and starts a movement. We need all the healers, all the mediators. We need all the magic wielders. We need the poets of this generation more than ever. I'm going to end or begin, I guess, by sharing a quote that I felt was necessary to share at this moment, particularly. And it's by Adrienne Rich. Poetry can add its grain to an accumulation of consciousness against the idea that there is no alternative, that we're now just in the great flow of capitalism and it can never be any different, that this is human destiny, this is human nature. A poem can add its grain to all the other grains, and that is, I think, a rather important thing to do. So thank you for those of you who labor and work through these poems to help offer us some sort of resolution, resolve, and rebellion. Please join me in welcoming our lovely array of poets tonight for Homemade. And we're going to begin. We're going to open up the space with someone I think is worthy and so great to open up this space, one of the best poets of this moment in this generation, and particularly of South Florida. Please join me in welcoming Eccentric to the virtual stage.
That was a lot, but thank you so much. It's always nice to have someone else talk about you. I'm learning to be better about speaking of myself. So that's a part of my growth process. I'm normally a quiet mover. So thank you for that. Hi, I'm Eccentric, everybody. I hope you can hear me and see me well. I'm out of Pompano. It's about 30 minutes border to border with Miami. And I have been a full-time artist now for 8 years. And just quickly, a little bit about myself. I was in the pharmacy industry, and then I suffered a major loss of my first husband by suicide. And it just pushes you to a place where you realize that life is not as long as you like to think. It is. And then I jumped headfirst into full-time artistry with 2 children, and I quit my job. And here we are now. So I'm going to go ahead and get into some work. So I don't read a lot of my work. I do a lot of performing poetry, and then I'll do that after. But I wanted to share something that I've been working on, and that I'm not quite sure if it's finished, but it is very dear to me. So at the moment, I have all Black male children, 3 of them ages 13, 10, and a 2-year-old. And I am 30 weeks pregnant with twins, and I'll be welcoming my first and only little princess, because we are done after this. So that'll give us 4 boys and a girl. And so a lot of my poems are centered around my Black children. And I can't wait to begin writing poems about my daughter. But I'm going to share with you 2 poems today about my sons. So the first one I'm going to read, and like I said, I'm not sure if it's finished, or your feedback would be great. I hope you guys enjoy it. And this one is about the 13-year-old. So here we go. Sunflowers symbolize adoration, loyalty, and longevity. Much of the meaning of sunflowers stems from its namesake, the sun itself. Sunflowers are known for being happy, making them the perfect gift to bring joy to somebody's day. My son is used to watering a sunflower. He is used to walking into a home and seeing it smile. He's even learned to appreciate the fact that it would die one day. He saw it sprouting up from my soul, embedded in the soles of my feet, growing from the roots of my hair, because I have always planted those seeds. He is living proof that I live life in yellow. That's what he has come to love. He doesn't see them much anymore. There ain't been no sun lately. Weeds are just a bit taller than my stem. I try to tell him that sometimes seeds take a while to grow, especially if they're buried too far underneath the surface. You only plant them an inch deep, and well, it feels like I'm 6 feet under, trying to tell him that it's been a struggle. He says he understands. I watered him for 9 months, so he continues to water, even when the harvest is bare. Every day he places a vase on the table so that I can find a place to rest. He doesn't know that I no longer have an interest in being bottled. I've been bottling up this pain for far too long. He asks me, what's my favorite song, so that he can sing it to me every day. He heard that sunflowers need love too, somebody to brighten their days. He finds it kind of ironic that they are to be cultivated during the month of April. That's your birthday month, he said. Sun rays are drying me out, petals withering too fast. Told me that he hasn't heard my laugh in a while. My answer is, I ain't had much reason to laugh in a while. It's wild out here in these fields, trying to stand upright when the rain is wearing you down. You know, sunflowers can die with too much water, drenches them until they can no longer carry their own weight. But he likes to say that by the time they're fully mature, they generally face the east, face against the sunlight. My sun lights up my life, so I let the sun beat on my face, that even on the cloudy days, you can't miss it. I can tell he misses it, the flower that I used to be. He's waiting for me to bloom again, the Lazarus effect, bringing my bones back to life, finding hope where there is none. So for my son, I stretch out my stem upright. I rearrange my petals. I sway in the heat of the moment. I pick myself up. I fertilize my garden. I take care of me for his name's sake. My son beaming energy to my core. He just needs a little more patience, do a little more waiting. Then he'll see the dawn emerging. After shedding my dust, chest up to the sky, I found a twinkle in my clusters. For him, I muster up every bit of strength that I have, so that when he waters his sunflower, it brings joy to him today. Thank you. So that's the first one. Thank you. I hope you guys liked it. Those conversations with the 13-year-old doesn't come as easily as I would like, as liberal and open as I am. He's still a teenager. And you work through that process. He's my first teenager. So we're growing and we're working together and we're learning each other, especially in this climate. So that's one of the things that I appreciate about having kids that kind of span um, years time, all of them are in different places. So they stretch my imagination and they stretch who I am as a mother, as a poet, as a person, as a Black woman. And I appreciate him for that. So I don't run out of time. I know, Aja, you said you like this poem. So I had planned on doing the poem just because it's very fitting for the moment. And it's called Bunker. So this poem is about my 10-year-old who has, since the age of 3, been screaming he wants to be a police to my utter demise. But with that knowledge, I tried to create an environment that cultivates the kind of policing that we need. So you might can't do the things your brother can do during cops and robbers because you actually want to be a cop. So it's my responsibility to try to make you a responsible one. So I wrote this poem to talk about the struggle between raising Black children, but also not killing their innocence too early. Sometimes we try to prepare them for this world, and then we kill their childhood in the midst of it, and that's our cross to bear to find that balance. So here it is, Bunker. A bunker is a defensive military fortification designed to protect people from falling bombs. It can be destroyed with powerful explosives. Denham lives in a 4-bedroom bunker. I, his nuclear bomb, performing airstrikes on his foundation. I see it every day, walking bodies, skin of country nights being stripped of their humanity, young minds being contorted into the very thing we don't want them to be for me. It is the balance between utter greatness and extreme caution. I can't tell you how many times I see my son's coffin. It's a war out here. No luxury in childhood. We needed more soldiers in the game, so soon after he learned to spell his name, I was teaching him combat. Back straight, chin up, chest out, be twice as good. Find the exit when you enter the room. Don't forget to duck. Stay just far enough tucked away to not cause a scene, but be different so that you can be seen. And if they hit you, son, you hit them back. Tell me everything, but don't snitch. Stop crying, boy. Life ain't easy. Get comfortable breathing on asphalt just in case. Don't run. Even if you don't have a gun, you drop it. You are great because they gonna hate, son. Just stay ready. We trained them for war at 6. We murdered their innocents, raising soldiers and not human beings. My home was a bunker. My son was a soldier, and I'm not sure when I let it get this far, but could it be Amadou Diallo shot 19 times? His wallet was exposed. Could it be Timothy Strasbury Jr. on his knees with his hands up still, shot dead? Could it be Jordan Davis? Could it be Presidential Walls? Could it be the Burger King they fed Dylan Roof? Or could it be Otis Bird? He was found hanging from a Mississippi tree in 2015. That means it could have been today. I say, son, nothing but death happens outside this bunker. Little black boy, you better bob and weave. We say bust before they bust back. We say survive by any means necessary. And then we wonder why he's slinging crack. We wonder why our neighborhoods are littered with violence, because every day we have to train our sons for a war of the world, yet we don't know how it gets into our homes. I will no longer raise a prisoner of war. I buy clothes, not gear. Son, put down your fists. I said, this is not the site of your hazing. I said that I'm sorry I lost sight of your cravings just to be young, but don't grow up too fast. I just don't want you to become another hashtag. So here's my middle ground. I said, I'll make your storybooks come alive right before bedtime. I'll put shrimp in your spaghetti. I vow confetti at birthdays. Let's talk about superheroes whose names I don't even know. Let's go to the grocery store and touch everything, because childhood has no lines. There's no shelter from the world. You will embody peace. I snapped everything in half that looked like limitations, including me. So I removed the curtains from my 4-bedroom bunker. I removed the armory from his back. I did my best to deprogram his mind. I give him toys instead of anger. I said, rest easy, boy. I reckon I just let you live, because how can he ever know that safety lies within his home if for his entire life I turned it into a bunker buried beneath a battlefield? Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed the poem. And you can find me on Facebook under Sharonda Eccentric Richardson. And thank you, Aja, for having me. And thank you guys.
Okay, so I know that I'm supposed to go next, so I'm just going to do that while we figure out what's going on. Igama lami nguVangile Kantsho, and I'm a poet from South Africa. And I think I really want to honor this time, but I also want to acknowledge what is happening back home and the fact that it's really difficult to be a Black woman right now when our bodies are under attack. And so instead of kind of pointing fingers and talking about who we need to call out, because this hurt is so complicated and so interrelated, I think I just want to talk about how we have always known how to heal ourselves. When the rain does not fall for as long as it has not fallen now, the elders go up the mountain. Amagqirha nabathandazeli, those whose legs can still carry them over rocks, who have lived long enough to win favor with the mountains, those who are called to give counsel where there is conflict. We have always known how to heal ourselves. Breathing underwater. I am told my grandmother was a woman of the spirit, that the wind carried her off a cliff, flung her straight into the water. Where I was born, wrapped in the skin of a snake, I stayed underwater for 60 days before I met my mother. In a burning hut on the mountain, they could enter only to fetch me and put me down, were allowed only to feed me, then return me to the fire. I'm told my lungs are made of water, that a snake coils around my spine, and I carry hives of bees inside my breasts. They say when a girl becomes a woman, she must leave her mother's house. Not be afraid of the wind and the cliff. She must learn to trust her breath underwater. Mama and I have never truly touched. A God of someone's God has always kept us apart. Me in the water, her in her prayers. I'm burning, Mama. Mama, I'm burning. In a box set on fire while I slept, Mama. A girl faced the bullets head on. She caught a bullet in her eye. She's blind, Mama. Something is wrong. I kept pulling down my skirt, kept checking my lipstick. I was hiding in this box. They found me hiding, Mama. This fire is an uncle you trusted, Mama. An uncle who promised to watch me while you were gone. And while you were gone, the fire burnt me, Mama. While you were gone, while I was sleeping, I forgot to pull down my skirt. I put too much lipstick on. I'm burning, Mama. Mama, I'm burning. There is power in your voice. Even when you choose silence, there is strength in your standing. Even when you break publicly, there is life in your breath. You are fire. Blazing embers, wild fields, burning winter's pain, preparing for springtime. You are everything. In my early days of dreaming, of remembering my dreams, I saw a fire, a wildfire burning the streets, burning houses, burning fields, burning children. Not even the white children were safe. Not even the rich children. I saw an old man burning, first his stick, then his body, his once gray beard ablaze, burning libraries and schools and kraals. Everything was on fire. An old woman whispers into a small girl's navel, then wraps her neck with red and white beads. The old woman smears calamine on the small girl's forehead, under her left breast, between her shoulder blades. When the small girl wakes, her eyes are glued together with tears. She learns to see in the dark. The small girl can smell the rain coming. She knows a storm is brewing. Thank you so much.
That was your last poem? Oh, okay. Woo, okay. Because I got cut off, everyone. I'm sorry. I really freaked out. I thought that's the first time that ever happened. And so I thought the whole thing got messed up and I was trying to figure out how to communicate. But Vangile, thank you so much, all the way from South Africa. She asked me to be a part of their reading in the beginning of all this in March. And it was so wonderful to see how they were organizing in South Africa as well. So thank you. Next poet coming up to the virtual stage is a really good friend, an organizer, someone who is also a part of Smoke Signals Collective, Black Family, doing incredible work here in South Florida, and is not just a dope poet, but MC, lyricist, brother, friend, comrade. Please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, James Klin.
Thank you so much, Aja. Thank you. First, I want to say that the first two poets, these women were phenomenal. I also want to say, Aja, to you, thank you, because you have, since I've met you, you've always made sure to use your platform to create space for others to share, to receive, and to heal together. And I just want to say thank you for that. It's honorable to watch you create the spaces and to facilitate them and to put people in the same room. So thank you so much for that. You asked me to perform a poem. I wasn't going to perform, but I'm going to because you asked me to. So, like the brother said earlier, you do what I just say. You know what I'm saying? It's just how we move. I don't want to be the greatest. I don't want to be a favorite. I just want to give you something that you can go to the grave with. I don't want to be mistaken. I'm going to be forsaken. Standing on light so that Black can be awakened. I was born in the basement. I started drawing on the walls and the pavement. I never even thought about my placement. Because as long as I was Black, it was sacred. The facts is they hate this Black. They know I'm about to Black. That's why they stand Black. Because all my niggas is Black with their backs up against the walls. We ready for war. We have to understand who we are, gracefully flipping on niggas. I'm Dominique Dawes. Now look into my eyes and see the mind of the Lord. So even when I cry, that's the eye of the storm. My shorty asked about Black, so I told her it's truth, and then I pointed to the stars just to show our roots. While on a quest for love, she found a Black thought, but they out here killing niggas like it's a Black sport. She said the world is full of sorrow. And if time is money, then why borrow? And she was Black in the morning and managed to get applause without even performing. She was Black. Now we about to Black. That's why we stand Black. Because everybody is Black. And it's that real Black. That shit that make you feel Black. You see, they try and kill Black. That's why we need to build. That's why we need to build. She was Black as the core of the sun. She's as Black as the voices that'll sing when the kingdom has come. She told me she was doomed, so I told her to run. She said come, but I was too scared to take that jump. Now she's moving through black holes without me. I'm looking at God in the mirror. How could you doubt me? And then she made me apologize. And we made love in the blackness like it was prophesied. Sex for hours, then we take a shower. We baptize the water, washing our bodies with flowers. She said, be careful outside because you Black and you're a threat to everybody alive. Black like most on both sides, blacker than taking a drive with fear in your eyes. And we were Black in the morning and managed to get applause without even performing. That's Black. Thank you so much, Asha, for creating the space. I needed this more than I thought I would. Once we got on the sound check, I was like, oh, this is going to be a lot heavier than I anticipated it to be. In January, I lost my mom, and it kind of kicked off the year for myself and for my family. And since then, every month, almost every week, has been something else. And I was talking to one of my aunts, and we were, she was saying, it's almost like your mom got out just in time. And so I'm thinking about everyone that we've lost since then, since the year started. And I just want to share this piece. This is specifically for my mother. It's called Michelle Mears. My mom's was fly. Stevie walked by and wondered how he could see the beauty in her eyes. And I thought the world of her. I was sent here to make an honest girl of her. I'm sorry that I didn't come to you. I didn't come around when you wanted me to. I'm sorry. I always had something to do. I'm sorry. I'm always trying to write something new. Now I'm standing in the middle of your living room wishing you were calling my name from a different room, just so I could walk to you. I'd give my last words just to talk to you. There were times I wanted to fight you, but couldn't be mad because Kima looked so much like you. Lay got your laugh, Tiff got your spirit. Cortez has your heart, and Xavier's fearless. I swear to God, he's just like you. Jamel walked through the fire just to light you. They say I walk with pride just like you. Plus, I'm never home. I'm just like you. You sent love from a distance, but wasn't forgiven because them drugs was addictive. And I should never admit to this. A different woman every night. This shit is ridiculous. I'm trying to find a lover in a pretty face who will love me like my mother in a different way. Your transition hit me in a different way. You left, came back in our lives, and didn't miss a day. I wrote this while crying on a train, got off on Nostrand Ave. It just wasn't the same. You always said, remember to pray. So now when we need strength, we'll just call on your name. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, Mita Aja. There you go.
Can you say your mother's name again, please?
Yes, Michelle Mears.
So today we just lift up your mother's name, and I also would love to add her to those we commemorate today. So thank you for sharing that poem, James.
Thank you. Thank you for creating this space, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody taking a deep breath. We're going to take in one deep breath. Ready? And we're going to count to 5. Inhale, and then 5, exhale. Cool? It's just a good practice. Let's begin. Awesome. The next poet I'm grateful to have join us is also from South Africa, and someone I admire and follow from afar, and just really, really honored that they said yes. So please join me in welcoming Lebo Mushy Lay.
Thank you so much, Aja. I feel the exact same way about you. I'm a poet and a performer, playwright, media practitioner, feminist, activist, mama from South Africa. And I'm really honored to be here. It's the middle of winter here. We're dealing with, police brutality and state violence, similar to you there in the US. We're dealing with increased femicide in a country that has one of the highest rape statistics and highest femicide statistics per capita in the world. And it's cold, but we're here. We're here. And we're so grateful to be here. Thank you for thinking of us at this time. Once we were travelers. Wherever we found water and warmth, we were home. Once, when we knew the ocean's true names. You could send a beat from Indian to Atlantic, Giza to Great Zimbabwe. A scripted message traveled from heart to hand to drum to dust to ear to village to kingdom. Songs of divination, songs of destruction. Coded connections contained in clan names and cattle. Cosmic formations and the scars that hold both beauty and tears. Once, we knew that a human being was more than a two-legged consumer, more than a permit or passport holder, more than a slave or child of war. An African in motion is a tangent in time, a multi-dimensional expression of lineage, a collection of talents mined through survival, made manifest in transcendence. We transcend borders of geography, skin, and mind. We make empires out of empty spaces, create cultures out of chaos and catastrophes. Through turbulence and turmoil, we will never stop. Like the flow of our resources, we never stop. Like the tides of our geniuses, we never stop. Like the forces that would divide us, we never stop. Everywhere you go, there are bones lining the bottom of the ocean floor. Twisted rope, rotting flesh.
Do you all hear her?
Click, click, says the camera. You keep asking for more. Everywhere you go, bones like a fabric, they tie you into knots. Not love, you can't have it. You wear them like a cloak. Bones, my belonging, you love the grip of fear, not love, you can't have it. Burnt bones fill the eyes, minds of the children, you serve them hell as life ignites. Flames in the stitches, burnt bones on their knees, begging for forgiveness. Click, click, says the camera. This is survival. This is business. Bones queued up, single file, papers ready. Bones at the border. This is business, money heavy. You love the taste of bullets. Minds of the children, you love the cut of borders like your own hands stitched them, you filthy little faggot. Bones snapping in the mouth. You crazy black bitch, you chew the bones, you spit them out. Bones between books, books become laws. Bones fill these streets, you chew them up, you spit them out. Bones of twisted ropes, pulling millions to the shore. Bones breaking over me, you chew them up, you spit them out, and you keep asking for more. Once we were told that none of this is real, that legacies can be erased like breath from the dead, that taking life from the lifeless was not a crime. Once there was a place where men put down their guns and picked up the souls of their people. How many souls have awakened because you are alive? How many lives intersect when we see ourselves through our own eyes? How many leaders will it take to make a continent whole? In the marketplace, we will be like mothers, measuring cloth, grain, and gold, like futures in the mouths of her children.
All right. Thank you so much. That was great. I'm just gonna read two poems, I guess. This next one is called Landless Acknowledgement. Yeah. Before we get started, we would like to acknowledge that we live on some unceded bones. Sometimes me and mine imagine ancestral homes. All I got so far is Montgomery, Alabama. Maybe a boat, maybe a plot of land somewhere so far from the South Sides I've claimed that I would get lost on the way. I admit, sometimes my homies talk about their families immigrating and I get jealous. We lost the land we were custodians over before I was a twinkle in the eye of a twinkle in the eye of a twinkle in the eye. Closest I got to a homeland is my mama's Caucasian pitch on the phone calling the police. Closest I got to a homeland is not never calling the police. Closest I got to a homeland is my daddy's laugh in a spades game. Closest I got to a homeland is my lover's tongue, talking or otherwise. Closest I got to a homeland is the funk under a DJ's needle in my hand full of a dance partner. Not to be dark, but I am. Not to be dark, but the planet is on fire. Not to be dark, but they move in capitals because the water is coming up. Not to be dark, but our bones are in that water too. Maybe that's my capital. Once the polar capitals melt and there's a whole lot less land for folks to buy and sell and steal, maybe everybody will feel a little more dark, will feel a little more homelandless like we do. Why you think I call my compatriots homies? Maybe ain't no home, except for how your beloveds cuss or pray or pronounce. Cool. And then I just want to read one more. This is called Imagine, and I guess what would be helpful for you to know about this is my partner, who I love dearly, her middle name is Canada, so that is probably useful information, and you'll see why. Imagine. You better imagine like your life depends, because it does. That boredom out of which making is made is the only thing. Consider that somebody first had to pick through all the prehistoric plants and sniff and taste and sometimes diarrhea or even die, just so you would know that a collard green with the right seasoning is a season that lasts centuries. Consider that somebody gazed at a star and said, I bet, and built a fire. Consider the first Negro on the first plantation who figured which way was north, maybe before they knew the word for north, and ran. Consider my love with the middle name the enslaved dreamed of running towards. See how I move swift in her direction. Consider how love is a great idea we keep having every day. We imagine being together, and that is the first step. Cool. Thank you.
That's it? Okay, all right. Just gave us a taste. Please remember that Nate Marshall has a book coming out called Thinna, and it's coming out later this year from One World. It's in August, Nate? Yes. All right. Shout out to that. Please go support Nate. Next up, I'm so honored to have a Stegner Fellow, I believe. and poet extraordinaire, this next poet. Please join me in welcoming. Wait, first I got to go to Lebo was amazing. I'm sorry, I got cut off. The internet has been giving me some issues, but I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So sorry that I didn't get to properly say that, and then also properly introduce Nate. Nate, you're incredible and do so many amazing things. So thank you for saying yes to this. And Safia, please join us in welcoming Safia to the virtual stage. Safia El Hilo. Did I say that right?
Yes, I said that right. Thank you. Thank you all so much for having me. It's so beautiful to see all your faces around my face right now. I feel in such kinship and such company with y'all. This first poem is called In Memory of Kamau Brathwaite, who was my teacher, and I would like to call him into the space with this poem. I sat by the lake and ate 5 tiny oranges, and every strand of flesh and pith was my teacher. I grew warm and soft in the sun, and from this ripening, made a poem to search for my teacher. I hear in every syllable its older drum. For this first part of my life, my ancestor was alive. My ancestor was kind, and my ancestor was my teacher. I learned music as the bright flesh of the poem. I learned percussion as its pith. I learned to listen to my people speak and harness my many mouths to write, my many mouths to music, my people as my teacher. I want badly to write well. I want badly for my teacher to remain or return, to explain again about the drum, draw a circle for me to stand inside. I want more than I dare write. I want more than I understand. I want porous borders to the other world, to part and reveal him there, my teacher. I want the lake and its secrets. I want enormous things, the audacity for words previously not mine, since poured from my softer places. I know enough to believe the miracle of my faith, not resurrection and not water, but the book. I want badly to explain something about music, something exact and pure, but what is more polluted than language? Language hollowed to an instrument by my selfish grief. You were enormous as a god and you were kind to me. And from that brief overlap, I sit down every time to write, hands fragrant with pith and peel. I want to grow larger than my mourning. My ancestor beside me on the long walk to the poem, the long walk around the lake, and now I will begin again, visited in sleep and here by my teacher. Modern Sudanese poetry. My husband works his fingers into the knot muscled against my spine, and my dead stay dead. My hair a knotted cursive language, my ligature, my grief barely literate, my amulets knotted around my neck and wrists, my language, cursive and silent, glottal and knotted and scarring the cheeks of my dead, adorning the hair of my dead, tallow in their braided hair. I read the books in translation. Where is the poem? And circle every word I know. Acacia, lupin, sandalwood, and ash. They ululate my dead. They squat like brides over clay pots of smoke, a yoke suspended in each open eye. And some in truth are not dead, my dead, and I am who is lost, who is not counted among the living. The poem is not owed me. I was wed in all the colors of my dead, the reddening, the borrowed gold. I wrote the poem in translation. I wrote the poem in the loophole. I wrote the poem in cursive. I snarled it. I picked apart the threads and wove a shroud. I was wed in it. I unfastened. I broke my fast with apricots, furred like the ears of my dead. I looked laterally for ancestors. I descended left and right. I read the book in Arabic, knew each letter and its sound, and did not recognize the words for tallow, for ululate, my dead, my languages, my ligatures, smoke in my loosened hair. This poem is called From My Friends in Reply to a Question, and it's after David Ignatow. From my friends in reply to a question. I'm okay, and of course I'm not, but I go through the motions. I wake up to the alarm's howl, even when the word in my body is no. I dress in livid colors. I blacken the hairs of each eyebrow. I bake and braise and pickle. I write and read and lose hours to the blur of the television. I sit for hours in the bath, my skin puckering. I don't know if I'll ever go home again. I don't know who I've seen for the last time. The Arabic comes back to me in streaks of paint, verb forms and vocabularies I may never again have occasion to use. My days smudge into one another, and it's not that I am afraid. It's as if I am watching it all happen below, and I am somewhere above the room, wondering if the rice is burning. I am somewhere above the room, watching my new aches, watching the news as if I am reading it in a novel. I look up the names of people I knew in childhood, learn their new and angular faces, their faraway lives. My grandfather pixelates into a smile, and I work my creaking muscles to replicate it. I do not ask if we will ever meet again. I do not ask him to read to me or for anything that will make me long. I dull it with sugar and oil, with cooking shows, with sleep. I sleep 12 hours each night, and in my dreams I am fleeing a war. In my dreams I am touching the faces of my friends. We are each one of us touching, and even in the dream we are afraid. Thank you.
Wow. I wish that the chat could pop up on the screen so other people could see all the good love that people are sharing. Safia, it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing those poems. It has been a wonder and a joy to watch you grow and blossom and do so many amazing things in the world. So thank you for joining us today. The next poet is someone that I'm so excited I got to get to say yes. A big part of these shows is also trying to curate and bring together poets who probably would never read together, or as much as there are circles that we think overlap, a lot of times folks that are elevated in certain spaces consistently tend to be a certain kind of poet or a certain group or friends or networks of people. And I think finding ways to get people who you would never put them in a room together, and getting them to be in a room is really important. Nefi is not just an incredible poet, she's also a dope MC. She's been a part of some of the movement work that we've done, trying to politicize artists and cultural workers and get people to really think through their role in the movement beyond rhetoric. And she's also an incredible mother. Her poems are alive, breathing, laughing children who are always around her. And I think they're her protectors as much as she's their protector. She's such a wonderful mother, a poet at that, and how she mothers. And I'm so grateful she said yes. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Nefi Love from here in South Florida.
Can y'all hear me now? Okay. My poetry is real raw. It is just the truth. I don't know how to do my poetry any other way other than telling the truth about what I see around me. And what I see around me a lot of times is a lot of violence. So that's just what's gonna be relayed in my own poetry. I want to start with this first poem. It's called Emancipation. When you in the streets, the hardest thing to find is guidance. Trying to survive another day, my preacher told me to stay away from drugs, gangs, and violence. But see me, I was always defiant. Show me the king of the jungle, I'm going after the lion because I'm going to come up. Because when I look at my fridge, it's empty and my babies needing new clothes. And I'm needing some protection. I was out here stressing for $1, following that G code, and they say roses don't grow. In the bushes in my hoods, there's only niggas with black masks and ARs, and they wishing that a nigga would while I'm wishing that a nigga could see the pain in my struggle. Trying to live my life and make shit right, and I always find myself in more trouble. And I think it's funny how they say my generation is lost, but nobody is taking the time to find us. They told us that our ancestors were slaves, but they forgot to remind us of the kings and queens and great principalities behind us. They blinded us from the truth, the proof that I am worthy of a proper education, that I am worthy of a thought-provoking conversation that sparks a mental stimulation, and this is my emancipation proclamation. You see, I was miseducated to be dysfunctional, but I survived. Institutionalized in these institutions of lies, all based on vanity, greed, and pride, and it's a demise. I know you see, it's the poverty. The way they rape, beat, stole, then lied to me. Then they threw us in these broke down ghettos filled with hot skirts and stilettos, crack rock, gangster rap, and hot metals. But the more the perils of this world discourage them, the more they encourage me to be the good in the world that I want to see, because I want to be one in 144,000 dressed in all white. And if not, at least I can say that I tried, because I can't complain about the evils of this world if I'm partaking in it. And to join in the battle with good and evil, you got to be in it to win it. That's why I use my poetry to enlighten and teach. Might as well call me Neffy the MC. So that is something light. I have another poem. This one is called Real Niggas. This is my favorite poem. It's just my favorite poem. I don't know why. If Harriet knew she was risking her life so we could kill each other, she would have died a slave. It's too many black minds not waking up on a Saturday off the dumb shit that happened on a Friday. Niggas throw their whole life away, locked up in a jail cell. How that cage feel, I hope it's frightening enough for you to transform the way your mind thinks. Don't be doing it for the gram, because it all could be taken away faster than your eye could blink. And I know you think they a man, but they don't love you. Love. That's your girl telling you to stay home just to keep you out of trouble because something in her gut ain't feel right. And niggas these days too scared to fight, quick to pull a pistol out. Emotions driving impulses got you ticking like a dynamite, about to seal your fate with lieutenant life. I know that shit ain't right, but this is what you asked for. Could have been sipping pina coladas, marking countries off your passport, but you thought it was cool to pop niggas like a cork, like you amigos off a motorsport. I guess them jingles got you. Now you on your knees praying to the Lord to keep them demons at you. But tell me, y'all ain't tired yet? Tired of burying black babies barely reaching 18, and of the black king name trending in rest in peace memes while our black queens dead of pain? While these tears fall like rain of Black Lives Matter, and tell me what's your game. Tell me, do you feel like God with your finger on that trigger? So what, you could take another man's life? That don't make you no real nigga, blindly compliant, fulfilling white supremacist agendas. These ain't no real niggas. Because a real nigga is what a real nigga does. But your daddy ain't never teach you, because you ain't never know who the nigga was. A young adolescent raised in the streets, now you 33, still acting like you 17, popping Molly, smoking weed, grown-ass little boys with no identity. So you rep your hood, and you rep your street, because that's what make you feel like a man. Killing your own kind of a white people's land, the same land that your ancestors died on. So you could have a chance at life. The irony, my best friend just buried her baby brother, lost him to the iron. This young black king, will never get a chance at living his dreams. And that could have been me. That could have been my black son, and he not even 3, but I'm scared that one day I'm gonna lose him to these streets, so I pray my son never want to be a real nigga. I don't know if I have time to do one more. Okay. So this last poem is it was just the result of coronavirus and police brutality, and I would just wake up some days and just want to throw my phone when I see what's going on in the world. And I had to reteach myself about resting. So this poem is the result of that. I call it Corona proof. Resting well and drinking water. Affirmations in the mirror, looking up dreams to uncover the subconscious. Morning baths with Florida water and sea salt, my spiritual protection. Prayers to the Most High and praise. Letting go, giving unconditional love to self first, then to others. Breathing through the anxiety, meditating through the anger, releasing all that has served its purpose, trusting divine right timing, aligning, showing courage in the face of fear, crying, laughing, rebuking the negative, affirming peace, be still and being still, to listen, sitting at the feet to learn, quiet and teachable, humble and powerful enough to declare I am, knowing I am, believing I can, affirming I will, and doing. In love, giving thanks, taking care of mind, body, and spirit, teaching others what I have learned and not getting in the way of God's plan, remembering to pray and praying for others, forgiving and blessing, not stressing, learning the lessons without self-critique, living judgment-free, and enjoying this lifetime experience of being me. Nephi love.
Thank you, Nephi.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us all the way from South Florida. Okay, next poet slash singer slash philosopher slash thinker slash everything, all of the things. I think we all are, right? Black people, we just encapsulate everything. We hold it all. We do whatever is necessary and create out of the moment. So I want to say thank you to Jadelle for joining us today. She's an incredible artist and a great sister friend. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Jadelle.
A veces quisiera llorar, caballero, y las lágrimas se me salen, yo no sé por qué. Belen, men, belen, men, belen, men, belen. Bele, 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 ay, 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 ay. Quizás es porque tengo sentimiento. Cuando del África llegué, yo traje mis caracoles. Cuando del África llegué, yo traje mis caracoles. Me llevaron los pañoles. Ay, 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 ay. En un barco caravela. Me quitaron de mi hijo para que fuera esclavo. Me tiraron en el monte como si fuera una fiera. Y el amo se enriqueciera. Ay, 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 mi Dios, que el mundo más traigo. El amo no quiere que yo toque tambor. Luz y progreso para los muertos, que yo cante este pregón. El amo no quiere que yo toque tambor. Guabanco coro miare, lo llevo en mi corazón. El amo no quiere que yo toque mi tambor. Vamos a vencer, vamos a vencer, vamos a vencer la dificultad. El amo no quiere que yo toque tambor. Vamos a seguir luchando. Justicia ahora. El amo no quiere que yo toque mi tambor. Oh, lo, mo fori vale fuchango. Oh, lo, mo fori vale fuchango. Chango a la fin. Oh, chao, mo achire moruta kwa mowi. Bam, 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 lo, hey, hey, arabio yo. Oluko wayo bakoso. En wayo bakoso. Ilua waye. Breonna Taylor, Dominique Dawes, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbury. Oh, Breonna Taylor, Amadou Diallo, Tamir Rice, Dominique Fells, Rhea Milton. Oh, Amadou Diallo, Sean Bell, Philando Castile. And on my life, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, Corinne Gaines. And I want Obakoso, Oluwato Yinsela, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Asha. Are you Raina's child? They searched my mother's face for the familiar features of Reina and her daughters. She arrived on fishing boats, went back, came again to roll tobacco in Florida, then north when the lynching started again. She copied her keys on 3rd Avenue in the Bronx into a miniature set for her baby girl. She knew it was a girl like her eldest two born just outside of Baracoa. Reina's scent of Mame and Violeta carried through the streets of the South Bronx. People knew she was powerful, so they asked for her blessing. Bendición, Reina. Que Dios te bendiga. Reina grew herbs on her project balcony, hierba buena, verbena, siempre viva, palo yaya, que Simón ruda, albahaca, vencedor, abre camino. On Sundays, she dressed from head to toe in white, blending in with churchgoers, setting the table. Glasses of water, rosary, cross, holy water, simple white candles. And a sanctified touch, Reina transformed those memories into me like a flash of lightning. And when she died, she sang to me, Drume negrita, que te va a comprar nueva cunita. And all these deaths, they made me anxious. I didn't dare speak their names at first or go to any gatherings because I'm at war with death. And I don't want her to study my weakness. In those fragile moments, gatherings tend to surface. I couldn't be weak. I had to keep moving. When the moonlight was just right, I caught a glimpse of him, that royal purple and that bob. Yes, Lord, that walk was Baba Luaye, who gave the bodies to the gates to Oya, who flew in like a rock star on a giant stage with explosives, young girls in the front rows crying and going hysterical. Oh yeah, in all her black feminine glory, breasts popping, neck high, lightning bolts marking her steps with Chango. Black woman who birthed Isis in Tuganathan, who birthed Cleopatra, and black Moors who traded with the Portuguese before they began stealing us into the night. Black woman who bore Cecile and Toussaint as the French retreated and they stayed quiet about the success of a revolution that birthed the first Black Republic. Black woman with 9 skirts, 9 lives of all colors, creating winds, cold, circling gusts on skin, neck swiveling, she stared. We didn't have much time. I hated looking at spirits trapped in trees, peering at me, testing me, daring me to look for a familiar face, since so many of the faces hanging are just like my own. The body was heavy. I held on to the hands, excusing the spirit for having to go through this extra set of hands just this once. And if Yewa stopped working, the stench of the bodies which refused to decompose would wreak havoc. Yewa, kindness wrapped in bitterness that her work had given her over the years. She was gorgeous when bodies passed through her hands, returning them to the dirt forever, to look up, souls to the stars, a last breath before they became forever encompassed with dirt-filling ears, nostrils, mouth, belly buttons down through our root chakra. It was against the law to put a body directly into the ground. It could contaminate the water and make us sick, but we are already sick and dying in unnatural cycles. So I made peace, dropped water on the chalked up earth, forming a circle around the Teja, speaking their names. I dreaded adding new names. I spoke their names with power now to draw on what we shared in life. They transformed, shining brightly as my hands and my feet worked. I drew, I danced, I sang circles, and they say I reminded them of the old mothers who asked me if I was from where they were from. They whispered what I was making sounded old but was new. knew, fellow melancholy that they had all known, love in their clay. I felt their heartbeat bumping clave all up in me, we changing tides and breath and spirit, all flowing through white gloved, brown, black hands. We glean our light, shaping bodies, laying them to rest in peace in abundant newfound slumber. And the sadness, it never dies.
Whew. Yeah. Yes. Take it there. I knew that reaching out to you, when we did this as an offering, we had to have you, Giselle, and you never fail to conjure and to really center us. So thank you for that. That was a beautiful offering. I really pray that those of you who are watching felt fed, and I'm gonna look over that video very often during these times, because we need the range of our voices and our stories. I think this reading really speaks to that. We're all poets in so many ways, and so thank you. The next poet coming up to the virtual stage is also a conjurer, a wordsmith, and word slanger, magician, and a really beautiful energy with words. I've heard her read a few times, and I was able to share and do a reading with her, and it really it grounded me, gave me I felt affirmed, and I know that so many other women do as well. So thank you, Dominique, Christina, for all that you do for the women who have the privilege to see and witness your vibrant, radiant spirit. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Dominique, Christina.
I'm going to read two poems. The first is a poem in two parts, a eulogy, essentially in two parts, for Ashton Sterling and Philando Castile, because I remember them too. One, Ashton Sterling, stipulation of facts. Louisiana say, every man for himself, carry a gun if you please, this is the South. Ain't no equivocating down here, steel and iron, iron and steel, the red clay conspiracy of color, sky, salt-edged and heavy, sun wooed by clouds plump as babies. What part of red don't you get? See Alton there, trying to be something that knows pride for itself. That good poetry, he won't see 40. How unoriginal, how stamped in familiar tragedy. We'll get to that. In this faraway land, women slide sons into coffins that sit on top of the earth like brand new nickels. Swamps don't know how to keep corpses. Put a dead man's suit on the boy, something marked down, sleeves too long, thrift store bargain, cry a river, regular, wave goodbye, tradition. Some of them can't be in an open casket. Some of them can't be identified. Empty sockets, buckshot mouth. What part of red don't you get? July keeps a score sheet here. You're gonna lose regardless. Steel and iron, iron and steel, tenements with bad roofs, leaking rain, buckled under humidity. We love a good funeral. Black folks, I mean, because we knew it was coming. Soon as a boy is born, we get ready for his return to the earth, to God, if you believe in him. Got the casket picked before he starts preschool. Y'all did this. You won't like hearing it. No matter. I gave up trying to explain this, ain't that. This is a requiem, a bird song anyhow. See Ashton there? A constituency of court dates and hard choices, pockets swollen with blunt wraps and the gun y'all say he was reaching for. That's a black man for you, always reaching and dying because of it, or the lie that he was. Alton is dying. Tradition found him. The ordinary ferocity of steel and iron, rattling bone, hurrying blood, a man vanishing before our very eyes, red shirt wet with his leaving, left arm trembling upwards like shaking a fist at God. One last curse or prayer, same difference. We die bad and often. You see it and call it something else. Unimpressed, you watch the murder and say, he must have had it coming. Police have always been good to me. Part 2, Philando Castile. Here, again, the ache, the low growl of going from this place to God knows where, they call that heaven. Here, again, the piston shattered bone floating in a man until he slips from himself, chases the one ghost that haunts churches and temples till somebody say amen. Here again, the woman as witness. Here again, the little girl made to watch a man bleed and be jettisoned away. Here again, the gun, the scavenger bullets that fret the body to palsy. Here again, the spectacle of death performed on a loop until we forget how to grieve. Just another slaughtered Negro, just another weekday. Here again, the marches, the rallies, the arrests, the hashtags, the vigils, the press conferences, the ceremonial apathy. I have forgotten how to cry in this country. I open my mouth, I capsize. I barely woman, I barely human, I wolf or something like it. I sugarcane and long memory, I cotton field and long blade. I eulogy, I suicide note, I manifesto, I rage, I grief, no tears left, just teeth. I wild with it, I vengeful, I plotting heavy, I hanging on, I haunt myself with every name. I hanging on and haunt myself with every name. The last poem is for Emmett Till. Southern trees bear a strange fruit. In this photo, he's laughing. And there is no cotton gin tied around his waist. He's not stretched into swollen limbs. His eyes are still hazel and recognizable. Two neat white rows of perfect teeth sit totem-like in his mouth, and the world did not know him because he had not been murdered yet. He's still slipping into the kitchen to get another piece of cornbread while his mama ain't looking. He'll mash it with his fingers, drink some buttermilk, and smile with those eyes, and they are still hazel and bright, like stars in uppercase. And ain't nobody gouged him out or shut him closed. And when he goes to school, he'll do a silly little dance with his arms and legs cocked out in odd angles, and his classmates are gonna laugh, and there will be no cotton gin tied around his waist. Pastoral scenes of the gallant South, the bulging eyes, and the twisted mouth. In this photo, he's proud of the hat on his head, and you can see that by how straight his neck is. And his mama's in the photo, and they got the same face. And his head is high and perfect, and ain't no bullet in it. And it will be months before there is one. And in those months, he is his mother's child. The smug and overfed man-child all Southern ladies love to cook for, because he licks that plate clean. Even if it's leftovers, he just eats. And yes, ma'ams, it makes you smile so much you gotta shoo him out the kitchen just so you can get the pots clean. And he's breathing. He's whole. And ain't no men dressed like midnight with yellow teeth and sunless, unlaughing eyes, snatching him out the door, changing everything when neither of them asked to be anything other than laughing in the kitchen with the greens still simmering in the pot. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck. This last photo is a Holocaust. It's the one that history concretized into the nighttime musings of Black children who hopscotched above and below Bible Belt, who saw a tattered otherworldly version of the 14-year-old Emmett Till, head poised strangely above a sharp black suit on the cover of Jet magazine. There were no eyes, smiling. Mischievous man-child wonderful, cornbread and buttermilk slicking, fast talking, looking like his mama, bubblegum pop saunter and sizzle straight necked full of tomorrow's boy, staring back into the camera. What was there was not there at all. What was there swallowed the world. My mama was 8 years old when they painted Emmett Till's fractured image on the cover of a Negro magazine. 8 years old. Pigtails, knee socks, pinafores, pleats, and a heap of pretty girl possibilities. But my grandmother set that book down with intention on the coffee table, knowing her baby girl would see it. And then know what should not be known, but what must be known. This is what they did with an adolescent mistake. When a fast-talking, finger-snapping Negro from up north whistled and boasted about big city white girl honeys with rosy lips and no Jim Crow, it is an image I shoved at my own 13-year-old son. Frenetic in my attempt to tell him this is Black history. I need him to know. If he's not careful, not brave, not the sum total of all our unlit courage, if he relegates these stories to clip notes, he bleeds out and dies in the epilogue. I need you to know, Salih, my arms will never be wide enough to cover sins like these, that your head held so high is still a cautionary tale, but go on and do it anyway, son. Do it anyway. And laugh and dance with your arms and legs cocked out at odd angles and slip by me and get that extra cornbread whenever you can, and be grateful that when you and your boys say something slick about the pretty blonde girl in the front row of algebra, you're permitted that levity after 400 years of midnights, necks decorated in nooses, plantations that decorated terrorism in white pillars and mint julep. I tell my son to remember Emmett Till, to remember when his eyes were still hazel, still smiling, to remember how high he held his head to celebrate that new hat. I tell my son to remember that Emmett's mother loved him and almost could not recognize him when that last whistle left his throat. I tell my son, I'm gonna be your mama all the days of my life. I'm gonna celebrate your brown boy buoyancy all the days of my life. And while I do not know what tomorrow holds, I know I won't let you be strange fruit. I won't let you be busted open, won't let you be strung up, hog-tied. I won't let your face, so like my own, be crushed, hatcheted, mangled. I tell my son, I'm growing these limbs for you, Salih, to get around you and surround you. And we will be strong and unapologetically Black for as long as we can. Thank you.
I'm just gonna let the dust settle on that poem right quick. Thank you for the poem, for sharing the poem and what it took to write the poem, all that led up to that poem, because that was definitely a conjuring, that was a healing spell. So thank you for that poem. You know, many of these poets who I brought together, I feel like this is when poets do what they're supposed to do. This is what it is. You know, when they get it right, this is it. And especially in these times, this is when we get to work. This is when our words truly do call forth all the depth of ourselves, the greatness, the goodness, the sadness, the suffering, everything that we have overcome. It's all there. And so thank you to all the poets who really do this work when there's no affirmations and there's no one there in the corner helping you carry through that poem. So I appreciate that labor. So the next poet is an incredible friend and writer. You know, they joked about it. They aren't spending too much time writing poems these days, but instead, you know, creating novels and stories for our children to fall in love with and to find themselves and to see themselves. And that is still you doing poetry in my book. And so, you know, Jason, it's been a real honor to watch you grow and evolve and do so much for the culture, so much for our people. We need these books as much as we need those on the front lines. I think it shouldn't never be an either or. It's about how we all collectively use our tools to get us to where we need to be. And so you using that pen is a weapon, you know, and I really want you to know that. And I really we see you writing for us and writing through us and with us. And so, yeah, you still a poet, brother. You ain't, nothing changed. Nothing changed. But please join me and welcome it. And if you have a young teen or even a grown adult, please go check out Jason Reynolds' books. They're really, really, really incredible. And thank you for giving that little shout out to Dream Defenders that one time. There's a bunch of Dream Defenders watching right now and a bunch of fans. So thank you so much for your time and your words. So please join me in welcoming Jason Reynolds.
Thanks, Asha. I'm just going to read a few short poems. I typically keep it short. I like to call myself a son of Clifton. You know, we keep it, for me, it's like I like to get in and get out. You know what I mean? So look, this is a tribute to all my homegirls. I grew up around a bunch. My whole neighborhood was Black girls. My whole family is Black women. And I was raised in that environment. And this is sort of an ode to it. It's called Homegirl. I grew up with a whole bunch of fight you girls. Hoodied and booted and Vaseline face shining like fingers after fried food. Girls with teeth tongues and bedazzled bricks for fists and snatchbacks like fountain streams of black gold. Eraser back earring girls who blow bubbles and burst them, whose jokes are jagged recitations of rap lyrics, whose hinged necks use halos as loose hula hoops round their heads in case I ever got too comfortable with heaven. That's that. Black men who were raised by Black girls and Black women know exactly what I'm talking about. Mind your manners, don't get too big for your britches or you will be reminded that we actually live in a matriarchal world in the Black household. So like I do a lot of work with kids. I'm around kids all the time. I love children. By the way, if you don't love children, I question everything about you, just so you know. If you don't love Black women, I question everything about you too. So this is about this kid I met named Al from Belle Glade down in Florida, down in South Florida. And the name of the poem is This Kid I Met Named Al from down south in Belle Glade, South Florida. This is how it goes. A sliver of a young man with skinny sucker sticks for arms and fists, the candy, skin thick, muddy like oil from a car Cadillac, big and American made, a fighter, all punch and pimple and cane ash because sweet gets torched in Belle Glade, down in the muck where the mighty are made, told me he was the #1 boxer in the state. Top 10 in the country, used to being punched in the face. Don't happen much though, he said, because he knows how to move. Said he knows how to move away from knuckles, knows how to move away from knockouts, knows how to dance and dodge and duck and wait to devastate. But all I could see was a child in a gloveless world with broken bits that have mended abnormally, a boy with a heart on fire, the saccharin long burnt off, the ash floating like cold snow behind his eyes, a kid that doesn't really know how to move at all, but knows how to make a living throwing haymakers. So this other time I was in Arizona, met this young brother named Jose. And this is a poem called Hugging Jose. I got to get more creative with my poem titles. I'm working on it. It's been a long time. I'm out of practice, but I'm, you know. Jose is 16. His father is serving life in prison for offing a cop, and the cancer has metastasized in his mother, tombstones sprouting daily in her body, leaving a few months to tell her baby goodbye. And I am there to tell him to read. But I feel stupid telling him to read. And I feel stupid telling him to do anything besides anything he needs to. He needs me to hold him, he says, with shattered glass voice, like a baby in the arms of a 5-second future. So we hug and hold it 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 until he was certain I was there and I am there. But then I feel crazy. I feel so crazy, whispering to Jose, to the angel, the orphan, the whipping boy, to 16-year-old Job in a jersey, that he will be okay, just to give myself enough strength to let him go. This is for the babies on the front line right now. It's called Kids. Do you know there are kids wearing painful, ill-fitted crowns forced onto them until thorns in the head feel like kisses? And tears dry, blackened, and water becomes ink. Kids with holes in their bodies, kids nailed to stigma and stagnation, kids who don't remember their Last Supper, kids whose disciples don't remember them. Kids who come from only a mother immaculate conception has become a messed up miracle for most kids who are never at their father's house. Kids who know something is wrong but can only express it by flipping over tables in the temple, only deal with it by riding high up in a foggy place. Kids who carry heavy crosses the past weighs the most and courses through their bloodstreams. It's impossible to run or jump when making a step is like moving a mountain. Do you know there are kids who are dying for other people's sins, kids who might also be messiahs, but who will roll away their stones? So I've been thinking a lot about Sister Toyin today. And it's heartbreaking because Black men, you know, we, at the end of the day, we have to go through the same self-assessment as we are challenging white people, police officers, and all the rest of that bullshit. We gotta go through the same exact assessment. You cannot be a person who is for the liberation of Black people if you hate our women. You also have to be honest about your hatred for our women in order for you to deconstruct what it is. And that's a really hard thing to do, but at some point we have to grapple with it. And if your first response is, but that ain't me, it's a singular issue, then you are part of the problem. And so this is called An Honest Talk with My Daughter. I don't have a daughter, but this is what I always imagined I might say if I had a daughter. Daughter, your mother will teach you how to swing and wield. She will show you how to cut, how to open skin of things, how to shine and slit and make halves of this whole world. And I will tell you what blood tastes like. My mouth made rose from kissing your mother's crimson creases. I will whisper to your wounds as well. I will clench, stitch up needle and thread between teeth, house your scream under my tongue, keep you from tasting your own iron. But still, I cannot swing and wield a sword I have never had the strength to lift. I cannot pretend to know how to cut or open skin clean. I cannot begin to know the weight of woman and weapon. I only know how to be sheathed. Daughter, I only know how to be sure you are safe and sharp. And my last poem, my last really quick poem is I think about my mom is 75. She called me the other day to tell me that she had been tightening her senior friends up. You know, and she was like, I got all my girls on the phone and I've been tightening their asses up because they talk bad about these babies on the front line. Because sometimes there's generational gaps in the way we do things. And sometimes we gotta, you know, sometimes our elders gotta be checked too. And it's love. I respect them, right? My mom, who is an elder, is tightening her crew up, which is a lovely thing. And so this is for her. It's called the dawn chorus. The dawn chorus is the sound that birds make in the morning. At daybreak, as the dawn chorus begins with the repetitive chirping of birds, we rise as for us that sound marks the beginning of a new day. But really, for the birds, it's a battle cry, a protective stance that balanced on these branches is a family, a nest, a life that will not be tampered with. See, there are wars we've yet to learn the language of. I keep this in mind at daybreak as the dawn chorus begins with the repetitive barking of teenagers. Perhaps this too is a battle call, a declaration of beaks to mask the silence of flapless wings or a seemingly windless air. They try to delicately balance their pride for their branches with their sometimes empty nests, all while never coming across as peck bait. Yes, it sounds like noise sometimes, a whole bunch of squawking, but perhaps there are wars we've yet to learn the language of, a battle that sounds to you like babble. Thank y'all very much.
Bruh, poetry never left you. I don't know what you on. What you talk about? All them novels is poetry too, and these poems is poems. Man, that the homegirl one, woo, with the erasers in the back of the ear. I was just somewhere like and lost the back of my ear, and I was like, "Where's the eraser?" So that I love when poems get you hyped and you see yourself in them, especially when they're from people you don't think, like with being a Black woman and hearing a Black man write a poem, and you'd be like, "Yeah, that's dope." There was a bunch of other women in the feed too, like, yes. So thank you so much. Those short poems, I like the Lucille Clifton vibe. The next poet coming to the virtual stage is man, where do I begin, yo? You have to look up her work, or what she has a one-woman show. I believe it's a one-woman show, right? That we were trying to bring out here. But I know that you also have a production when you put it on sometimes as well. And so, the work that she does in prisons for our folks locked up on the inside, we want to shout out also all the brothers and sisters who might have phones somewhere, somehow looking and watching and doing what they do. And a big part of, I think, what I appreciate is just her energy, her spirit, and attitude about loving our people and doing what needs to be done and how we tell stories. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Lisa Jessie Peterson, with the Illa Silk head wrap.
Thank you, Aja, for creating this, again, like I said, this sacred space. I am so full. This is just so much medicine. My solar plexus is on fire right now. So I'm just gonna jump right in, because I'm literally I'm shaking with spirit. So thank you all for bringing your high priestess and high priest selves to this space, because we need the medicine and our people need the batteries. So we are definitely a collective battery. We're gonna be all right. So this piece that I would like to share is You know, I call it Where Do I Begin, or Black Love Manifesto. Blue, black, brown, baby, buckshot, shorty, rock, melanated prince, king, kissed by the sun, with your solar blessed skin, sculpted like a god, master crafted in my womb, first womb, ancient womb, safe and sacred womb, African fertile soil, black gold, diamond oil, mineral rich. Mama me, I we stirred you up good, boy. You, potent, powerful, wonder, warrior of the world. You, who always had the planet head nodding to your beat, got the globe axis leaning and tilted like your hat. Call it black swag, black cool, cat daddy funky blues, rock jazz juke joint, sugar shack sanctified, negroid crunk typer, stank funk typer, monster 808 on a microphone check 1 2 1 2 type of boom to the back, the boom back. Soulful genius encoded in your DNA, divine nappy archives coiled in your hair. The creator's rhythm, love child, and natural heir to planet rock. As poetry somersaults out your mouth, your slang is slung around the world. What you say, how you say it. What you wear, how you wear it. How you do it, urban haiku it. It's showtime. Olympic ghetto gymnastics, double back flip into it, a one-handed handstand pop lock Harlem shake into a Ronde Jean pirouette in shell toe Adidas on crowded moving subway cars to Brooklyn, world-class concrete symphonies, underground ballet for $1 donation. You was born with it, baby, an effortless magic, a planetary humanitarian gift you have given the world to uplift rhythmless people from offbeat purgatory. You who have been blessed with sacred sounds, magic tones, cosmic frequency, and a spirit so thick its medicine healed us, carried us, lifted us, lit our path through dark days over troubled waters, became our golden guide rail we clung to while navigating grotesque madness. Middle Passage, American plantation terrorists. Real life, Freddy Krueger, all day, all nightmares. Me, you, we spoke different languages and we had different tongues, but with one anointed spirit and the holy drum, we loved and created more and more magic because we are our own antidote. And no matter how many of them study your magic, grow more human from it, package and sell it, proclaim themselves black spurts on it, critique it, define it, make millions off of it, feed their children's children from it, finally realizing the liberating power of it and pay you to poison it with a parade of your pathology, rewarding hungry tattooed minstrels to demonize it and then do just like they did God, colonize it. Remember, baby, this is still your shit. So do like you always done did. Be bad. Not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. Switch a Maruzi to shit. Make fertilizer. Use your secret weapon equalizer and make black love. Make black love. Make black love. Activate the magic. Love who you are and just how bad you be. And multiply. Because the children are thirsty and the soil so dry. And we are in a state of emergency. I know your spidey senses feel this. And since we have been blessed, tremendous alchemists, turn this thing around. Ring a bell, spit rum, beat the drum, burn sage, blow smoke, shake a tambourine, roll a coconut, sprinkle herb, boil a pot, take a bath, chant, sing, clap in the clearing, catch the ancestor spirit, catch the ancestor spirit, call on Shango, Oya, Yemenya, Obatala, Sekhmet, Heru, Kutira, Atin Amra, and all of them, and then check your intentions and root it in love. Cause mama, me, I, she, I, we stirred you up good, boy. You, mystic, master of mystery, who taught the Greeks everything they know as they sat by your feet learning math, medicine, astronomy, philosophy, geometry, sacred masonry, and prayer. How to turn papyrus into paper and extract wisdom from trees. How nature is your greatest teacher and supplies all your needs. You built the Sphinx and colossal statues in stone that mirror your broad nose and thick lips on your face. Long before telescopes, you studied outer space. Cosmic communicators with intergalactic alien life. Science fiction is a fact. New age is old age, dating back to when you built landscapes of monuments in accordance to the stars. Then you civilized Europe. This is who you truly are. Best believe they know it, but you forgot it. That's why I write, to remind you. I must remind you, so you never forget. Your strength is biblical. So outrageous, so surreal, sometimes it seems mythical. You are the mighty phoenix soaring from the ashes of the slave, the real life resurrected in your face, God's son. Remember how you built a Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921? And in just 12 hours, it became undone, bombed by barbarians. 21 Black churches, 21 Black restaurants, 30 Black grocery stores, 2 Black movie theaters, 19 Black millionaires, Black private jets, Black hospitals, Black schools, Black post office, Black bus system, and 3,000 Black men, women, and babies bombed by barbaric beasts. Jealous American terrorists. Jealous of you. Hated you and bombed you because they're jealous of all that you are, all that you dare to be, and all that you've ever been. Because even in the face of insurmountable hate, you still come back on top again. This creates fury and bombs to be dropped on you. 300 Black men, women, and babies slaughtered without a history book mention or a national monument for this national monstrosity. Ooh, baby. This country is insane and has gone to great lengths at waging a continual campaign to destroy you, deny you, trick you, stop and frisk you, incarcerate you, criminalize you, demonize you, copy you, rob you, want to be just like you, ignore you, use you, and never say thank you. This is an unnatural and deadly place for you. So while you break dance between bullets, giggle at jackals glaring from squad cars, play hide and seek with prison bounty hunters, trick or treat with terrorists, play your music real loud and run to the store for iced tea and Skittles, and jaywalk back to grandma's house, and sell loose cigarettes and DVDs and drive with a broken tail light and reach for your ID and shop for a toy gun and play with it in the park. We mothers pray. We pray. Harriet Tubman, please make him invisible prayer. But even though I'm afraid, I don't want you to be scared. So we pray. We pray. A hair of lamb's wool, burnt bronze, black Jesus, fish frying, walking on water, water to wine, multiplying, crucifixion, resurrection, miracle prayer for you, because this is still a deadly and unnatural place for you. And where do I begin to explain the fury you will continue to face? Baby, it's so many layers for me to explain. I'm exhausted by rage, absorbing too much pain, fighting energy bandits in my own damn depression, surfing waves of confusion in this country's obsession with racism, white supremacy. It's a mental illness, but it's a powerful lunacy. So remember your magic, warrior. I said, remember your magic, warrior. Conjure your genetic memory. Conjure your genetic memory. Honor the ancestors and expect miracles, because we are our own antidote. And remember this, beloved. There will always be hateful riptides. But if it's one thing I know, shit, we know how to survive. Just like we did it before, we'll do it again with love. Demonstrate love. Demonstrate love. I love you, wounded warrior. My beloved, beautiful sunflower, dandelion, lilac, lotus, blade of grass. Refuse and defeat, growing between the cracks of concrete, because you always find the light. You always find the light. You are the light. My blue, black, brown baby, buckshot, shorty rock, melanated prince king, kissed by the sun and sculpted like a god. Thank you. Thank you.
Yo, I can't. There's just too many gems. Too many gems. Everybody, wow.
Listen, look, you brought together this sacred space with, woo, baby, listen.
Girl, we was all like, did she write this for me? Was this, did this poem come? Okay, specially delivered. I hope all of y'all who are watching felt fed from that poem, especially in this moment, to know that you are gods and goddesses, and that everything is there in the genetic memory. Conjure your greatness. That was a word that was so necessary. Whatever ancestor is speaking through you, we needed you. So thank you. We say thank you. We give grace. Woo! The chat is on fire. Catch your breath, y'all. Catch your breath. Go get your drinks. Take a little hit if you need to. That was so amazing and so necessary. The next poet, who is equally hot fire, you know, flowing water, thunder and rain, all of the elements, and has been such a big part of so many young people who have come up dreaming of Patricia Smith like a North Star. You know, she is definitely a North Star for so many of us, and I was so honored and so excited to watch her win that NAACP award, Image Award, even though they still got work to do on celebrating the writers, but was in there doing what we could. Jason warned me though. He did warn me. He called me like, "Hey, sister, I just want to tell you." And I was like, "Well, you know what? This is my first nomination. I'm going anyway. Just don't tell me nothing. Don't tell me nothing wrong. It's Black people. I'm just gonna stay there and love on them." But anyway, she deserved it, and I'm so grateful. There's so many awards you could sit down and write all, list all them all. But at the end of the day, she's just an amazing wordsmith. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Patricia Smith.
Thank you. I'm still laughing at something Jason put on the chat.
This chat is lit.
This is absolutely a stunning evening. I don't know how this group of people could have come together. You, of course. I think everybody's been changed by something they heard. It might be something that the poet thought was inconsequential in their poem, and we're going to be walking it all for the rest of our lives. So, very thankful for this particular group. Let's do. This is.
Wait.
Can't hear you, Mama. We can't hear you.
Hold up.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute you. Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Start over.
Start over.
Okay. The title of this poem is, in the middle of the night, in a jail cell in the middle of some city, Lonesome Willie opens his mouth to sing one long, keyless, perfectly ugly note, which should upset the cell block, but doesn't. That lonesome boy unlooses a grand exalted stank, an undone edge that rollicks that block, and that note say just one thing, sizzling slide and edge snatch, gaping screen on a Mississippi door. Mud ears bellowed, Lord have mercy. Willie, close that door for them flies come in. Alleys of rust and the way an old man flap mouth kisses. Stovetop sagging with scarred pots crammed with the grayer best dubious parts of pig, barely de-jellied jelly jars, brimming sweet slosh of hard brown water, served suppers that just might not be all the way unplucked. Willie, dreaming of that old dance, tangle leg, Chi-Town juke, sipping off sweet silver, and Franklin Aretha, and Hooker John Lee. Colored folks got a right particular English. Ash as a skin color, and nose as a landscape. West side, best side. Scratched 45s on reject mixtapes crammed with Willie's surefire coochie songs. Wound and rewound with that number 2 pencil. Month-old grease getting its skin on in that jar by the sink, 8-hour Negro funerals, and Carl Wall to the rafters. Furious wag drooping the dance floor. Ain't no way on Saturday night. Ain't no way but one on Sunday morning. Rotten molars and drooping balls and ER aspirin, lonesome chewing on toothpicks all damn day long. Nobody talking out loud about lips and noses. Bop and back that ass up, borders and boundaries that stay trembling. Undersold, overwhelmed, dog-tired aunties in that 6 a.m. chitlin assembly line. 3 times under hot water, unapologetic hog's head and hog maws and hard fried chicken skin, and we just like it in public, the way your skin smells before someone really, really knows it, and that sweet stink after it's been loved on. Slow grind against the bathroom wall, playlists, cracking plaster, vile crevice and sugary swivel, ache in your mouth, the crook in your neck, the tinge in your belly, the limp in your pimp walk, the idling motor in your American ass, backslap, bandana do sweat it flat, wars all over the TV, Temptation, Miracle, Supreme, Dead David Ruffin, and where did Coco Taylor pull that voice up from? Sharkskin slacks, lavender alligator kicks, droop denim butt crack had its birth in the ravaged black body. It slip sides through a peculiar blood. Turns out, jump back, baby, jump back, dimmed pink by the Tallahatchie. A bodega and Baptist blood, or 4 hours in the middle of the damn street Ferguson blood. Jump back, baby, jump back. A handcuffed but suicide in the back of a police cruiser blood. A cottonwood branch's blood, but all the time a newborn blood, a one more time. A relentless blood, a goddamn it all, finally soul train line time blood. Slide electric, patch cabbage, twine time, twist like you did last summer, how the body jumps, 41 bullets, how the body jumps in your grandmama's backyard, how the body jumps into its chalk outline, how 2 bodies jerk and jump as they drip from a tree in the city, how the body jumps, how they can no knock and no care and no breath, Brianna, how the body jumps, and oh God, and gushing wound, how the body jumps, blue rotating light and back road, how that body jumps, it's tag toe, it's resilient, it's repeat, it's remix, how that beautiful brown body jumps and jumps, dancing to a loop of that one blue lyric, growled by a sleepy jailhouse elder with a 1-syllable sickness as a name. Thank you. Thank you very much. This final poem, this is for George Floyd. During the first minute, he still held on to that inane optimism, that Baptist-tinged bootstrap hope, where a smirking azure-eyed Jesus teased that he would, if he wanted, turn every one of those sweltering seconds into a wide open throat. The promise we are perpetually promised is a dog-eared page in some Mississippi hymnal. It's a ripple in the tepid baptism water. It's the climax of a moonwalking 77-year-old preacher's gradually detonating sermon where the gravel-growled moral, repeated long after it's time to bless and dismiss, is he might not come when you want him, but he's always right on time. So that first minute, despite the boulevard's ground glass needling woe into his cheek, despite the maddening parade of last year's Jordans and scuffed work shoes, past the almost everyday now spectacle of another hymn, prone and commanded, despite the restless murmur of, yo, I know they not fit to kill that man, despite his voice flattening out to antebellum boy, just the way the murderers wanted, he still kind of believed in might not come, but right on time. Even before the first moment ended, that same thought kept stopping at might not come. By that time, he was primal, trying on sounds only possible from a smashed perspective, a thinning throat. He could only manage the verbs in the prayers, and even they were overwhelmed, blurring with quick sputum and surrender. He could hear himself becoming a yesterday, incredulous snippets of, damn y'all, they finna kill that, blended with the lustful grunt of the man who had declared himself Georgia's brand new God, whose sole gospel was welcome to your salvation in the name of my need. To the man on the ground, the whole world becomes blast of smashed neon through his slitted eyes, the boulder that wouldn't stop falling into his back, and the shred of air clawing through his broken throat. He made that air do those three words, hating that they begged, but needing them while the Arab American owner of Cup Foods watched, while a babbling and irate man who couldn't believe what he was watching watched, while that baby girl switched on her iPhone and made the rest of us watch, while the curious and captivated poured out their crumbling storefronts and watched, while the people in front of Cup Foods sighed, damn it, not again, and watched, while Officer Thomas Lane shooed back the crowd and watched, while Officer Alexander Kuhn slyly giggled at the gurgle of the beast and watched, while Officer to a trial whose eyes were a particular type of stone watched, and Derek Chauvin, newly appointed religion of George Perry Floyd Jr., preached with his hands in his pockets and his knees seriously over blessing a neck, and he watched and he watched and he watched until there was nothing but those three words and a neck. And the terrible thing that the God of might come and the God of right on time both decided to do. To create the M sound, the lips are pressed together, causing the air to be blocked from leaving the mouth. The soft palate drops, allowing air to pass through the nose. The sound is voiced, so the vocal cords vibrate while producing it. To create the M sound, George Floyd's doubled and blooded lips worked themselves painfully toward each other, which waited to block the air he could no longer conjure. His soft palate dropped, allowing the air he didn't have to not pass out through his nose, which was smashed flat to antebellum boy against the street in front of Cupped Foods. The sound was voiced, so George Floyd's vocal cords must have vibrated while producing it. So even that knee, which had become his sky, which had become his on and off switch, would have become the ruler of his gone body, even that knee couldn't keep that grown Black man from asking for his dead mama. When a grown Black man asks for his mama, it is by no means an idle request. It means he's run out of corners to crouch in. When a grown Black man asks for his mama, it means he left something behind in the womb. When a grown Black man asks for his mama, it means somebody done hurt his feelings and blood is involved. When a grown Black man asks for his mama, it means the blues come down and damn it ain't jukeboxes anymore. When a grown Black man asks for his mama, it means his pockets wouldn't know the quarters anyway. When a grown Black man calls out for his mama, when he punches those lips toward that necessary M, it's because he's been snapped into two writhing halves by a woman. It's because that woman's breathing is suddenly magnum and click switchblade. It's because his breathing is always in a left turn toward the wrong whiskey. It's because somebody said his back ain't nothing but target practice. It's because he don't no more know this world where he was once a mistake her body made. When a grown Black man asks for his dead mama after 3 minutes and 11 seconds, when he shouts out for his dead Black mama, when both the good God and the bad God gingerly back out of the room, it's not because he's dead. It's because he sees her. Thank you.
Wow. So y'all all see why we had to bring this group together on this specific night. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, thank you. So we were supposed to have Ras Baraka end, and that's the reason why I didn't choose to have myself ending with a poem, but since he's not here, I'm gonna end with a poem. And well, I've been trying to choose between, so there's a poem that I wrote for Black Lives Matter. Last year they did this thing called Black Futures, and they asked me to write a poem right around the time I was really grappling with Erica Garner's death. And it was just such a eerie thing because she died from issues with her heart and her father died without breath. And so there was this feeling around that. And anyway, I wrote this poem. It's called Garner. And she was such a light. She was really fighting, not just for her father to have justice, but for all of us. And so I'm going to read this poem and then end with Say Her Name. Garner, for Erica. Before we name it, when they came for her love, she yelled. When they came for her child, she fought. When they came for her, she could barely get out of bed. Tooth and nail, she braved. Folklore and flesh, balled fist and prayer hands. What dreams keep us up thick in morning, chest pain, aching shoulder, lower back, or tired feet. Our body keeps score. Well wishes do nothing, grief don't open blinds, pay bills, feed mouths, being woke won't bring back the dead. It is the day to day, heavy, swollen breath, brow of sweat. The whole world could march. The whole world could march and it would never fill the missing shoes. Each word dispels making sense of loss. We owe her to herself. She who cries out memories that gather us a heart. A heart is a map of courage. A heart is an electromagnetic field. Remember the familiar drum, the voice, the story of rhythm and pulse, a portrait. The heart is a portrait of gravitational pull. A heart gathers the tribe in the doldrums of days when the world is a blue funk wreckage, bluer than blue blood. She is a truth-telling shore, assembles the people, weep, cleanse, tend. Your heart is a front line, trace the wound, cradle listening hands, mind how we butterfly in battle, eternal as reckoning, quiet strength, disarm the lie, mourn, reconcile, be made whole. There is doing, then there is undoing. Love is what love does. Undo, tell me how far we've come and yet so far to go. I remember now while reading it, why I wrote it was, I think a big part of it was the sadness that Erica had lost her father and she was fighting and struggling so hard. for her father. And one of the things I pray all of you who are watching, community organizers especially, I know that y'all are watching, I do pray that you take care of yourselves and that you're doing what's necessary to heal, to listen, to rest, and to take care of your heart. It's really important. As much as it's more important, you know good to us if you're on the front lines and you're not loving yourself. So please do that. And I'll end with this poem, which is called Say Her Name. And I dedicate this to all the women, our trans sisters as well, who have been lost in the recent weeks. I am a woman carrying other women in my mouth. Behold, a sister, a daughter, a mother, dear friend. Spirits demystified in a comrade's tone, they gather to breathe and exhale, a dance with death we know is not the end. All these nameless bodies haunted by pellet wounds in their chests listen for us in the saying of a name you cannot pronounce. Black and woman is a sort of magic you cannot hashtag. The mere weight of it too vast to be held, we hold ourselves, an inheritance felt between the hips. Woman of soft darkness, portal of light, watch them envy the revolution of our movement. How we break open to give life flow, why the terror of our tears, the torment of our taste. My rage is righteous. My love is righteous. My name is righteous. Hear what I am not here to say. We too have died. We know we are dying too. I am not here to say, look at me, how I died so brutal a death. I deserve a name to fit all the horror in. I am here to tell you how if they mention me in their protests and their rallies, they would have to face their role in it too. My beauty too. I died many times before the blow to the body. I have bled many months before the bullet to the flesh. We know the body is not the end. Call it what you will, but for all the hands, cuff wrists of us, shackled ankles of us, the bend over to make room for you of us, how dare we speak anything less than I love you? We who love just as loudly in the thunderous rain as when the sun shines golden on our skin and the world kisses us unapologetically. We be so beautiful when we beat. How you gonna be free without me? Your freedom is tied up with mine at the nappy edge of our souls, singing with all our sisters. Watch them stretch their arms in my voice, how they fly open-chested toward your ear. Listen for Rakia Boyd, Tanisha Anderson, Yvette Smith, Ayanna Jones, Kayla Moore, Shelley Frey, Miriam Carey, Kendra James, Alberta Spruill, Tarika Wilson, Sharice Francis, Chantel Davis, Melissa Williams, Darnisha Harris, Michelle Casso, Pearlie Golden, Katherine Johnston, Eleanor Bumpers, Natasha McKenna, Shaniqua Proctor, Sandra Bland, Brianna Taylor, Rhea Milton. We are each saying that we do not vanish in the bated breath of our brothers. Show me, just show me a man willing to fight beside me, my hand in his, the color of courage. There is no mountaintop worth seeing without us. Meet me in the trenches where we lay our bodies down in the valley of a voice. Just say it. Say her name. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone who's watching. I pray that tonight was something that you could take with you and travel with it throughout your days ahead, and know that you are not alone, that there's somebody in some room in the corner of somewhere in the world writing with you in mind. You are in our hearts and our spirits as we all are enduring and during this time. This was indeed medicine. We will have this up, so I hope that you feel, if you feel so called, go back and return to it on those days when you're struggling and you need a good word. I know what Lisa said. I'm definitely gonna be revisiting that for sure. But I love all you poets. Thank you so much for saying yes, and whatever it was in you and your spirit that decided to say yes, contrary to what Jason said. All of y'all need to say yes, but you know what? Y'all did. And I really, really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give some final words, you guys, if there's anything else you want to share with the people.
Thank you so much. I'm just truly honored to be with all of you. Love you so much.
Yeah, this was kind of otherworldly.
It was.
It was, I don't know how I'm gonna sleep now. And the first meeting of the I Hate Jason Reynolds Club is just for poets.
I'm taking notes on that.
I love you. I love you. Thank you for having me. Aja, I love you no matter how hard you are on all of them.
She's not hard.
The check.
I'm just hard on myself. So that's really where it comes from. And you guys all teach me how to be better and how to be softer with myself. So I look to you guys as much as I hope this moment is, I know it's hard, but I hope this moment brings us together. I hope these poets that are on this call, that you lean on them, you book them, you work with them, you think of them when you're thinking of whatever you're working through. Shout out to Ben Connors, Haymarket, shout out to Mahogany Brown, Major Jackson was also watching, a bunch of other people, and the People's Vigil. I wanted to shout out Mahogany worked on this long project to get everybody to read the names of all those we've lost. And so please look up the People's Vigil and Mahogany Brown and what she's doing there. I hope every one of you, some part of your soul and heart was touched and spoken to. And please follow these poets, support them. You saw their names on the little tags that we had. And yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aja. Thank you so much. I'm cracked wide open. You know, we all have our different defense mechanisms, and I haven't been able to cry because I've just been full of rage, and I'm a well right now. I'm a river of tears. I know, and I'm just grateful that y'all cracked me open because I needed this. Because I've been holding it together with the rage, but underneath the rage is the pain. So y'all just went right down and brought me to the river. So thank you. Thank you.
Bye, y'all. Bye. Audience. Bye, audience. Well, y'all can stay on, but bye, audience.